Hola Madridistas, this is Wolf09 and welcome to another podcast by your favorite Real Madrid fan page, Los Maicos Central. Today with me we have RM Ash and we bring you this podcast on a bummer note. Our tank Casemiro has departed for Manchester United, the Clowns, and we we are obviously disappointed, but we are still kind of happy for him to be getting a good paycheck and leaving to see his friends, Cristiano and Varane, to be captained by Harry Maguire. But yeah, I mean, this is something which came out of nowhere, to be fair, but
Yeah,
it is something we're going to have to deal with now. So let's go to Aramash. What are your thoughts? Like, how did you take this news when it first hit you?
I was actually the one who posted the very long thread on Twitter, explaining why I believed Casemiro would stay, and I really believed he would, because I guess I only believed he would stay because I was really hopeful and emotional, obviously. But when you look at it in hindsight, there was no reason for him to stay, as we were discussing. There's just he's won everything there is to win. He's accomplished everything. There's nothing left for him to prove at Madrid, and
So, like
plus we know
seven,
that.
so like seven
Yeah,
stages of denial or something, like a grief. You know, you
yeah.
started with denial,
I skipped
now
like
you're
five
at
of them though.
accept.
I went Yeah, I went from denial to acceptance. What else is there? What am I gonna do? But yeah,
True.
like we know that, especially at Madrid, even look at Luka Modric, arguably our best player year by year. We've offered him since he turned 30. We offered him, I think, 1 2 year contract when he won the Ballon d'Or. I think every year we've offered him a new contract, only because he's past 30. So Casemiro knew what was coming, and he knew United's offer was essentially irresistible to him, and you cannot blame him at all.
Yeah, because his contract expires in 3 years, and by the time it does, he's 32 and a half. So he knows
Hmm.
he's only going to get a year contract, and by the time maybe he won't get as big a paycheck that he's getting
Hmm.
with United. So I don't
Yeah, of
think
course.
we can blame him for taking this because obviously he has to think of his family and
Mhm.
security and stability, but at the same time, he has nothing left to prove.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
like, he's completed his dream of playing for Real
Yeah,
Madrid, becoming the champions, and then he decided to take his paycheck and
yeah.
live in the circus. But I don't know why I keep taking shots at United.
No, you're allowed. We're allowed to do this.
Yeah,
It's
again, I'm
just a
still like
fact.
on the third or fourth step of grief, so I'm still in anger stage.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I don't blame you.
so
But yeah, I mean, yeah.
like
Go
leaving
ahead.
Madrid is not some anything is not easy because people
Of course.
die to come here.
Hmm.
But for Casemiro, I think it was time because, as we discussed, he was on not on the decline, I would say, but he was just getting there. Plus, we
Yeah,
had signed
he's just past
the
the peak.
his replacement as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was a very big thing for him. I think being benched in that first game, I don't think that was a huge factor, but I think it kind of he got a taste of what was coming, and he knew even though his contract had 3 years, within a year or less, maybe less than a year, maybe by the end of this year, Chouamani would have replaced him in the starting lineup. I don't think so, but
Yeah,
I think it's possible. Yeah.
yes, because as you said, it gives a taste of what's coming because he's
Yeah.
becoming an old man. He's 30 years plus,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
even though
30 is old
Ancelotti
now.
will definitely prefer him in big games, it
Yeah.
still isn't maybe not good enough for him. Maybe he still wants to play, but from the reports that mention he wanted a good offer for both the club and the player, and that's only
Mm.
when he would accept. So he not only
Yeah.
was looking out for himself, but he was also looking out for the club, which I really respect if the reports are
Yeah.
true. By him signing with United, maybe they won't go for De Jong, and if De Jong ends up staying, they won't be able to register Kunde unless they sell
Yeah.
both of their strikers.
Which
So I
sacrifices
will
their depth. So,
exactly.
yeah.
So it's just he took one for the team.
Yeah.
He went and joined
As he always
United.
does.
So, mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
So
Ramos
respect
esque
for
of him.
that.
Yeah. I feel like this kind of whole, I wouldn't even call it a saga. It was over in less than 2 days. But this whole kind of this situation that has happened now, it feels different to any other transfer we've had before. I feel like Ramos, we knew his time was coming and he was out. Varane, we were like, oh, he wants a new challenge. Sure, whatever, he can go. But I don't know. I feel like Casemiro was very different in the sense that it just came out of nowhere. Like we were like, okay, we have Casemiro. He's gonna be a mentor to Chouamani for the next year. We can go for the treble next year. And then all of a sudden, United starts going hashtag Glazers out. So they splash 80 million on Casemiro. It just came out
Yes,
of
like
nowhere, and that was, I don't know. It feels different. I don't like the way it feels. It feels different than other transfers we've had. It feels the same as Cristiano's transfer,
exactly,
right?
yes. That's what,
Yeah,
because the thing is, when Ramos left, I was more upset than when Cristiano left. But with
yeah,
Cristiano, I was more uh, like I felt like somebody died. This is
yeah,
what
yeah.
exactly I'm feeling like,
I agree.
uh,
I feel you. Yeah.
because I didn't hate Ronaldo at all. Neither did I hate
Mm-hmm.
Ramos. But with Ramos, it was more of hurt that
Mm-hmm.
it feels like your big brother is leaving your
Mm-hmm.
family. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
But with Casemiro, because it came out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
when
It was
United
just
had that
very
shock
surprising.
defeat, this was
Mm-hmm.
like, in all fairness, from United point of view, Casemiro is the player to sort out their midfield. But
Arguably, yeah.
without the supporting staff around him, he would not be able to take care of the whole situation by himself. But again, he's the
Mm-hmm.
perfect signing for him. And
Yeah. Like if you look at Casemiro's profile himself, even if let's say Casemiro wasn't at Madrid, let's say he was at some other team where he was the star midfielder, I think he could take a team to Champions League glory. But well, not by himself. Obviously, he needs a good team around him. I'm not saying he can take like Norwich to glory, but um, with the likes of Modric and Kroos around him, that's the main reason we won the three-peat and then another one and then five. That's why we
so
had the
maybe
five
like
Champions
something
Leagues.
Yaya Toure did with City.
Sure, yeah, I'm not too familiar with Yaya Toure and City, but I guess yeah, I guess
Like,
so.
in 2014, 2016, Yaya Toure, he ran the show in the midfield. Like, before De Bruyne
Oh, like
came
that.
and
Okay,
became
yeah,
De
yeah,
Bruyne,
okay.
he was the guy. And I think Casemiro, like, yeah, as you said, Casemiro could have done. But I look at this trio not as individuals, but a combination of all three. Like, it's like
Mm,
a well-oiled machine.
yeah, they all
You can't
complement
say
each other's
one piece
strengths
is
and weaknesses. Yeah,
exactly, like, you can't say
I
one
agree with
piece
you.
is better than the other.
No, no, of course not. They all have a different aspect. You can't argue the better midfielder between the three. As a
Exactly.
Madrid
Like,
fan, you
imagine
cannot.
imagine a car, and
Yeah,
in the car you have the engine, which is Cruz. He is sort
yeah,
of running the whole show, controlling the
yeah.
tempo, controlling the speed.
Mm,
Then you have the
agree.
steering, which is giving you direction. With
Yeah,
Modric is the steering,
Modric. Yeah,
and he's driving which way the game's going. And
yeah,
Casemiro is the exterior, the tank, is protecting
yeah,
everything inside. I think that's how this whole thing worked. Let's say your
yeah,
engine is malfunctioning. If you want the same performance, you need somebody to replace Cruz, who's the
yeah,
engine, with that exact capability. If you look at Barcelona, what happened? Like, they had again, before KCM, they probably had the best midfield trio of all time.
yeah. I agree.
Arguably, they still are the best midfield trio because, again, they complemented each other, they covered for each other. So when
Hmm.
Xavi left, like, of the trio, Xavi was the first one to leave. And
Hmm.
that, when they tried to replace him with Rakitic, even, to be fair, in his last season, Rakitic played majority of the games. Rakitic
Hmm.
wasn't exactly Xavi because you can't find identical players to replace each other, and
No, you
that's when
can't.
it started to deteriorate. And then in 2018, Iniesta leaves. They can't
Hmm.
find this, so this whole system breaks down because the tiki taka system they played was based on the absolute
Yeah.
genius of these three midfielders. With
I think the
KCM,
difference
yeah.
between ours, I think it's going to be a quick thought, but I think the difference between our trio and that trio, the Xavi and Iniesta, um, with Busquets, I think the difference is that theirs just complemented the system. Like they had Barca had the system, they complemented the system. Madrid, our system is based on our three. It's different than Barca's. So I think like if you're talking about the player profiles themselves, you can't really put them as like the same car analogy. Like Madrid, yeah, you can Casemiro, Cruz, Modric, but Xavi and Iniesta, it's more like just an orchestra. Like they're the ones that are kind of part of it, but they're the most important part of it. If you get what I'm saying, if that makes
So
any
it's
sense.
in a way like, an engine can't be a steering, but
Yeah,
in their trio, anyone could do anyone's job. So it's like a total football
essentially, yeah.
ideology,
But they were
basically.
all very similar. They were all similar to each other
Yeah,
in a
like,
sense.
Casemiro is not going to have Modric's flair or Cruz's
Yeah,
passing ability,
exactly.
or Cruz is not going to have more like defensive abilities of
Precisely.
Casemiro.
Yeah.
But with I think like Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta, they sort of had everyone's quality with each other. They were interchangeable
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was this like whole analogy came from mainly like being a trio and complementing each other and working well with each other. It's not like,
Hmm.
oh, these two players are great and they can work with anyone who's coming in the third place.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was more about like chemistry between the three. I think this is what I looked at as our midfield, that
Yeah.
these three together, like all of them together, it's probably it works best. It's like jigsaw puzzles. They just fit with each other. They're
Mhm.
not going to fit anywhere
Yes.
else.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah. I
when
agree with you.
Casemiro goes to United, on paper maybe he looks a perfect replacement or like perfect piece of their puzzle, but maybe he won't be because players
Yeah.
around
He
him
might
aren't
not be.
Kroos and Modric.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big test for him because we haven't seen much of Casemiro. And then, like for example, last season we didn't see Casemiro, Ceballos, Camavinga. We didn't see that, but we saw a lot of like Cruz with Camavinga and Valverde. Or you could put in players with Modric and Cruz, but Casemiro needs specific profiles around him, all around him, throughout the whole team to succeed. And I'm not saying that because he's a bad player, not at all. He's a brilliant, brilliant player. He's the best DM in the world. He has been for
Yeah,
the past, what, 4 years? Conte was up there, but Conte did not touch Casemiro's level. Casemiro's been
because
top, 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 and but he still needs those profiles around him because he's a very niche player.
think about like how the other two behave when Casemiro has the ball. Like he's just recovered the ball
Yeah,
in midfield. Cruz is to his
yeah,
left all the time,
hmm,
deep,
yeah,
waiting to spring the pass to either Mendy or Vinicius going forward.
hmm,
Or to
yeah,
his right, he always has Modric who's going to just carry the ball. So
hmm,
I think he was sort of being in this system for last 6 seasons since 2015,
yeah,
16. So yeah, 6 seasons. This is probably would have been his seventh season, and
hmm,
I think both of these guys complemented him very well.
yeah.
But
They were his
with
outlets, I
Bruno
guess.
and Christian Eriksen and
Yeah,
McFred around Casemiro, either he's gonna make them better or he's gonna have a homicide with Fred's,
yeah,
I don't know, dribbling. So we
yeah.
don't know.
We don't know. We have no idea. Especially if you think about it, just sort of as outlets. Like Casemiro's that anchor you have. He gets the ball, he just gives it away to Modric or Cruz, and they do what they do. Casemiro's not the guy who will win the ball back, run it up the pitch, and create a goal. He won't do that for you. De Bruyne is a player that I can see like that. He'll carry the ball through the midfield just like Modric, and he'll make a goal. Casemiro can't do that. He won't do that.
Like
He needs that outlet when
De
Eriksen
Bruyne is the kind of player who can do anything. Like
Yeah,
remember
De
what,
Bruyne is brilliant.
uh, or even Fernandinho is. It's a completely different kind of player. Pep said
Yeah,
if you get like one goalkeeper and 10 Fernandinhos, he can win any title,
yeah,
which is probably true
yeah,
because he has everything. Like he's basically jack of all trades.
yeah.
And
Reminds me of that.
Casemiro, go on.
No, I'm just saying it reminds me of that quote, I think by Ferguson, who said, "Give me 10 pieces of wood and Zidane, and I'll win the Champions League." But if you actually think about it, you have 10 pieces of wood, or actually, sorry, 8 pieces of wood: Casemiro, Ronaldo, and Varane. So, as we were saying, with Varane, he will be part of their starting 11 when he's fit. I see them kind of. I don't know Ten Hag's tactics. I don't know the way the system he uses. I didn't watch Ajax at all, except when they beat us, but I
Who
don't want to talk
watches?
about that.
Who watches
um,
Eredivisie?
I don't know, man. Some these football analysts, bro, they watch everything, but I'm not one of them. So, but no, I don't know Ten Hag's system, but I think he has every reason right now to adapt to a simple 4-3-3. He has that outlet. He has the wingers to do it. He has the striker, and he has the DM. DM, I think, is one of the most important in a 4-3-3. And with signing Casemiro, I think he got the perfect DM for a 4-3-3.
Like one of the biggest issues that I think Casemiro could address is not on paper, it's or like on the pitch. It's more like the leadership he brings because
Yeah.
he's an alpha. Like he's gonna take charge with
Hmm.
McTominay, Fred around him, and he's gonna be a role model for those guys. Even I
I
think
agree.
Ericsson, like he's sort of a mild character, and
Yeah.
Bruno, yes, he is the second captain for United, but with Casemiro and his reputation, I think he will take charge in the midfield and sort
Hmm.
of dictate things. So I think that's going to be good because Varane is also a leader in the back and Ronaldo
Yeah.
up front if he stays. And
I
I
think he'll
think it's
stay.
going to.
Nobody. Where's he gonna go?
Dortmund is showing interest in Ronaldo, but that's another story because,
I don't see that.
yeah, again,
I don't
if
see
he
that,
wants
man.
to go to Bundesliga, just go to Bayern Munich. Otherwise,
So
everything
go
else is
Bayern. Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you're just wasting time there. You're not gonna win the. What's it called? The Bundesliga Shield. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. Now Bundesliga
Yeah,
is not something to be discussed. But moving on
yeah,
to the transfer of Casemiro, there's an
yeah.
allegation he's going for the money. We have addressed that, but just to revisit it, I think I
Hmm.
posted on Facebook today about his childhood, how his father abandoned his family when he was 5 years old. Then he had like two siblings to take care of. He had hepatitis when he was 14. So this guy, he's seen the lows of life as well. It's not that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth or anything. He's
Mm.
struggled, and he's not only lived his dream, made his dream come true. Is probably one of the best centered defensive midfielders of his generation, and then he's
Hmm.
running after a paycheck, which again is not a bad thing at all. This
I
is,
don't think.
yeah,
Sorry, I just don't think we should say he's running after the paycheck. I don't. I don't because he's not like.
okay, that's
If we
probably
compare
a
this to
very bad
Mbappe,
term to use. More like,
yeah,
not running after the paycheck, but he's
yeah,
weighing pros and cons. And
yeah, yeah.
since he has won everything there is to win at the club level, I don't
Hmm.
think thinking of himself in terms of financial stability is a bad thing or makes him,
Not at all.
yeah,
Not at all. Yeah, as we discussed, like with the contracts, we've seen how Modric gets 1 year contracts. Modric, like think of who we're talking about. Second most
exactly.
important player after Benzema last season. It's Modric. He has a Ballon d'Or to his name, and we give him 1 year contracts. What makes
Or not just
Casemiro
like,
think?
think about Ramos when he didn't
Think
sign
about
contract
Ramos.
in
Yeah,
time. We
yeah,
said like, I'm sorry, but we're not going to offer it again. So
exactly.
I don't think
That's our
anyone comes
captain.
above Ramos in terms of Madridismo.
No,
Like as a Madridist, I don't think anybody comes above him.
yeah,
So
I
if we
agree.
can say no to Ramos, I don't think we would have said anything else to
Hmm.
Casemiro.
Exactly. And frankly, I think Casemiro did not take what was. They basically gave him a retirement offer. You're 30 years old. Here you go. We'll sign you for 5 years, double your wage, essentially double your wage, and 5 years guaranteed. So you're 35. You have double the money you would have had in 3 years, and then you can retire, or you can play on if he feels like he can play on. Who knows? But we won't know. But he would have been, frankly, he would have been stupid to not take it. I think, unless
Yeah, because
because he had nothing else to prove. If you want to compare to the Mbappe situation, Mbappe is different. Mbappe has everything yet to prove. He's won nothing except League Ones and the France Cup. I don't, right?
I don't know if that's
So well, he has
relevant,
a World
but
Cup.
just to,
Yeah,
yeah, just to bring a interesting stat, Mbappe is 23 years old and has never scored a free kick in his career.
that
Casemiro
is
has
thank you
probably
for that.
three free kicks to his name, with
I think
one
so.
banger
Yeah.
he scored for Porto. So
Yeah. Okay.
there are levels to
Yeah.
this game. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like if you want to just look at it that way, as in he has earned every right to get what has been given to him by United, and we cannot fault him and we cannot be mad at him for anything because it's Casemiro. He's won it all. He's done it all. It's time for him to change. His time has come.
To be fair, like there probably isn't another team in the world in Europe who would offer same contract to Casemiro at this time and age, because I don't
Yeah,
think
it's true.
anyone else would go for a 30-plus-year-old midfielder to solve their problems unless it's a club
Yeah,
which is not competing for bigger titles, which essentially what United
sounds
is.
yes.
But
Yeah,
as club as big as United, being in that situation is something sort of, stars have aligned for Casemiro to get this
yeah,
opportunity, which
yeah. It's
again he
fallen right
realized, and
into
he
his
said,
hands.
"Yeah, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
get a better offer," and good on
yeah,
him because. But now that moves us to the next section that he has left, and now we have to deal with the
mm,
loss of a great midfielder.
yeah.
And so, who do you think is a possible replacement within the squad? Like, let's before we go outside
Okay,
the
we'll
club.
go within the squad. Yeah.
So,
Okay, I
with
think.
the right, the most logical replacement that has been in front of us, or like the player that was bought to be his replacement, is Chouameni.
Mm, yeah,
And how
clearly.
do you evaluate him being the replacement right away? Because the future has been preponed to now.
Mm, I I see Chouamani as I think again, as we said at the very start, by the end of the season, Chouamani possibly would have replaced Casemiro in the starting 11. It's possible.
Yes.
I think Chouameni, we've seen that he has the technical ability, he has the physical ability, he's capable. We can't judge off the Almeria game. That was what he didn't even get 90 minutes. I don't think he got subbed off, didn't he?
He was subbed
So
off
I don't
around
remember. I'm not sure,
45,
but
I think, or 50. So I don't
yeah,
know. But
yeah,
again, he
yeah.
had a stinker
There you
of a
go.
game. In nutshell,
Yeah, and
him and
we can't
Kamavinga.
judge off. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, look. Camavinga had a stinker, but look what he did last season. He changed the game against PSG and City. That's
Yes,
the two of the best teams in the world. So you can't judge off 90 minutes, and we have to judge off what we see. Well, right now we have to judge off the statistics that we have and the things that we've seen in preseason. And from what we've seen, he's class. So I think he's a possible replacement for Casemiro.
bringing statistics, let's discuss what like their stats of the last
Mm,
365. So basically, in 1 year. So if we evaluate just Casemiro and Chouameni, Casemiro makes 3.15 tackles every 90 minutes,
mm,
and he wins around 2.2 tackles every 90 minutes, while Chouameni wins the similar amount of tackles while attempting probably just below 3 tackles. So
mm,
percentage of winning tackles is much higher compared to Casemiro for Chouameni.
mm-hmm.
And but the place where he has made tackles for Monaco have been mostly in the middle third of the pitch,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's the defensive third. While for Casemiro, 1.78 tackles every 90 minutes is has been made in defensive third, which puts him the highest in probably Europe. While for
Yeah.
Chouameni, he's only made 1.27, so half a tackle every 90 minutes less than Casemiro in the
Mm.
every 90 minutes in defensive third, which goes to show like the different style of play that
Profiles.
Casemiro
Yeah, styles of play.
plays
Yeah.
and what
And
Chouameni is used to.
yeah, we have to consider that in the last year, Chouamani's faced teams like Nice, and his hardest competition has been PSG. Then that's twice a year. If you look at Casemiro's games that he's played, he's come up Champions League. We went to the Champions League final. We went Copa del Rey games. We had La Liga games, and he played every single one. So
And not
obviously we
just
have to
that,
take
like
that into consideration. But
thinking of Chouameni as not just based on his Almeria game, it more like he's been playing
mhm.
for France. I think he's played like 5 or 6 games,
Yeah,
or
he's
probably
played a
more.
couple for France. That's correct. Yeah,
Exactly, and he's been fitting like a glove. Like he's
yeah,
starting games, he's controlling from the back. So,
hmm
and he's a good. Actually, he's a very good shooter. He has heading ability. The guy can do
yeah,
many things. So
yeah. He's
I
he's
don't think
he's physically yeah.
he's going to take too long to fit into this role.
hmm
And I think we
Yeah.
should be focusing on Chouameni as the natural replacement and giving him
hmm
more responsibility. Again, Ceballos is rumored to, you know, increase his contract, which will make him
Yeah.
another, just midfield reinforcement for us.
hmm
I think he can play good as a deep line playmaker. What do you think?
I don't think so because we've seen. I think it was the Almeria game. He subbed on Ceballos at left wing, and Ceballos is playing up higher up the pitch. I
Yeah,
don't
but
see
again,
Ceballos
like
as a holding midfielder. To be honest, I don't. I see him more as the more even as more advanced than Modric in his position wise. Like he plays more wide or more forward. I don't see him as the holding midfielder. I think Arsenal used him in that position when he was on loan, didn't they? I think
uh,
they did for
more like a
Ceballos.
left defensive, like on the one side, like he
Yeah,
wasn't just central defensive.
no, yeah, but they have the double pivot. They've had it since
Yes,
Arteta started, but I don't
but
think
it
he
was
excelled in
Xhaka
that
and
position.
him. Yeah, he didn't like. He
Yeah,
wasn't the best.
yeah, no, he's not a DM. I think if you wanted to, let's say, okay, we've discussed Chouameni. We've seen that yes, Chouameni can eventually replace Casemiro, straight swap, sure.
Hmm.
But let's say Chouameni is struggling. What do? We've seen Cruz in a double pivot. With we can even drop Valverde back there, who would be brilliant. We've seen lots of players, but you need to change the whole system to accommodate for that.
The last time we saw Cruz in a double pivot was 2014-15 season, where again we
Mm,
didn't have Casemiro.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
we had Kadira, who was a national defensive midfielder, who
Yeah.
was injured, and then we
Mm,
saw Ramos play as a defensive midfielder in that
yeah.
game against Juventus.
Yeah, which I don't want to talk about. But yeah.
So
Um,
let me just bring this up as like a,
yeah.
sort of a tangent, but similarities between Ancelotti's second season in his first stint and second season now.
Yeah.
So in his first season, we won Champions League, same as this time.
La Decima.
Barcelona signs a best number nine currently in Europe,
Hmm.
which again Barcelona did this time. Last time they signed Suarez. This time they signed
Mm.
Lewandowski.
Yeah.
We lost Casemiro in his second season last time, which is the same thing that has happened. And if history is about to repeat itself, I would say Barcelona might end up winning the treble because that's what they did last time when we fell just short.
Don't scare me like that, man. I
No,
don't
that's
like
what has been
those
weighing on my
spread
mind. I
odds.
just wanted to get it
Yeah,
out loud and just
I know. Yeah, yeah,
say it because there was like too many similarities. We won two
yeah.
trophies, two domestic trophies last in his first season, and that's what we did this season as well. Like maybe like
Yeah.
not this, like the second stint
Hmm.
for season for.
Yeah.
Um,
Last time it was Chabi, and this time it's Casemiro.
but
Different
we still
players,
have
but
Xavi there.
similar. Yeah, yeah,
No, we didn't have Xavi like in his first. He was there in his first season,
yeah. First season, then
but
he
not in the
left.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He left in after the
So
preseason. Yeah, late offer, right? Yeah.
I'm just gonna put some money on Barcelona to win the treble. We've discussed Tchouaméni, Ceballos, Cruz, which I think is Ancelotti's choice to be the defensive
Unfortunately,
midfielder.
yeah.
Yes, very unfortunately. But there's also one player who has played as a defensive midfielder for Bayern Munich, and that's Alaba.
Hmm.
Would we
Yes, that's a
see?
huge one.
Because if Rudiger, let's say Rudiger does play defense from the start, then Alaba can
Yeah,
slide in as a
yeah.
defensive midfielder because he can go up front, he can score goals, he can. His
As we've
passing is
seen,
great.
yeah, past two games, Alaba has two goals. He scored in the Super
Exactly.
Cup and he scored against Almeria. I
So I
think
don't
Alaba,
see why he
yeah,
wouldn't be tested as a defensive midfielder.
I agree. I think Alaba would be, let's say, like next game, Chouamani's injured. I think Alaba goes straight into the CDM position. I don't see any
Exactly.
other competition because
And
Alaba, despite being less of a physical player than Casemiro, sure, he is he's
more
better on the
clinical.
ball. He was more, yeah, yeah. He's better on the ball. He'll advance more. He'll give you, as we said, Casemiro needs those outlets. Alaba doesn't necessarily. Alaba can do things on his own. We've seen him
Hmm.
play left back. He can carry the ball. He can challenge defenders, and he can advance, create a pass that'll give you a goal. We've seen that, and I think Alaba would be the most sensible straight swap at the moment, unless Chouamani gets some revelation. I think Alaba is the best option right now.
Yeah, exactly, in my opinion as well. Because think about this: Rudiger starts with Militao in defense, and Alaba
Mm,
starts, and it can be interchangeable, like because Alaba is
exactly.
also a centre
Oh
back.
yeah, yeah,
And when if there's it comes to substitutions, then Tchouaméni can replace Rudiger, and Alaba will go back to centre back position. Tchouaméni
yeah.
comes in as a defensive midfielder.
Hmm.
I really hope
Yeah.
Ancelotti listens to our podcast. He's probably a subscriber,
Please, Carlo, I beg you.
and
Yeah,
it would be like an ideal scenario for all of the players because Cruz, I don't think he enjoys
yeah.
playing as a defensive midfielder.
No, even if he does enjoy it, we don't get as much output from him as a defensive midfielder. It
Exactly.
inhibits a lot. It inhibits a lot, and he's not
Hmm.
good, frankly, as a center defensive midfielder. He's
Exactly.
not. He's not the right kind of player for us.
Maybe in a double pivot, he would be okay, not the
Yeah.
best, but as a solo, like just as a center defender, I don't think he's going to work
Mhm.
at all.
No,
I
I,
don't know.
I
Like
agree with you.
obviously, Carlo knows better because he watches
Yeah,
the players,
obviously.
but again, Cruz is 33. Is he not 33? 32?
No, I think he's 31, isn't he?
He's
Chris is
old
31.
anyway,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
pushing towards that. So I don't think he would want to have a more physical role in the midfield. I think he
yeah,
likes what he does now. I don't want to
yeah.
speak for
So do
Cruz,
we.
but hopefully he
Yeah.
echoes my concerns about him being a CDM.
Hmm.
And do
I
you know
mean,
like
we
another
saw
stat
Carlo.
for like people say Casemiro is reckless. I just wanted to bring this up. Sorry,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Casemiro's
I like this stat.
errors, Casemiro's errors per 90
Mm.
minutes is 0.08. So
Mm.
he has to play 12 and a half games to commit one whole mistake. If
Yeah.
on average,
Nowadays, yeah,
if we go
makes sense.
by, so every 25
Yeah.
games he's making only two mistakes. But for
Mm.
some reason he comes off as like, oh, he's error prone or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
his if you look at the other side of his uh, like in terms of pressure, every game he has like 16 times like he goes for the pressure presses, and
Hmm.
60% of the time he succeeds, in getting the
Mm.
ball, but he does get dribbled past a lot, and is
Hmm.
probably like second Chouameni is close to him in terms of getting dribble pass, but it's like 1.14 for Chouameni every 90
Mm.
minutes compared to 1.33. But again, Chouameni is more error prone than Casemiro in just pure terms of numbers. I don't have numbers for Chouameni, but
Mhm.
Casemiro is not as error prone as he looks.
No, not at all. Especially if you're considering the past like 3 seasons.
Hmm.
He's a different player than we saw in like 15, 16, 16, 17. I remember, I think it was Deportivo game where he committed, I believe it was two mistakes that both led to goals, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Was it like 2017, 18?
no,
Is it like when
no, 15,
Ramos scored
16.
the header in the 19th minute?
15, 16. I know it was the 15, 16 season when it was against Deportivo. The ball was like the yellow and orange one. I'm pretty sure 15, 16 when he committed the two errors against Deportivo, and it led to them scoring twice. And
Okay.
I think
Did
it
we win
was the
that
one
game?
where we came back. I think it was the one where we came back in the end
Yeah,
3-2.
so I think it was, yeah, Deportivo at, it was just before the Club World Cup. Ronaldo wasn't playing, Bale wasn't playing. Most of our players were arrested
Yeah,
because Jose Lu scored twice.
yeah, that's the one.
But one of the
That's
one
right.
of the mistakes was from Navas though.
Was
Navas
it?
rushed the
Oh, I
ball,
guess. I
and
guess. Yeah.
because Mariano scored in that game, like a very,
Somehow.
very like a great header. Morata scored,
Yeah.
made it 2-1. Then
Yeah.
uh,
That's right.
Mariano scored in 90+2. There was a huge brawl from a corner, and the
Yeah.
second there was another corner, and then Ramos scored.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Because
Yeah. That Casemiro back then was a different. He was more of a center. I remember we used to think he was more of a center back than a defensive midfielder. He didn't have the quality on the ball
he
that he
was
has now.
he was more like a high pressing center back basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a Rudiger type player. Yeah. Even Rudiger
But
now we see is better on the ball.
mhm.
He's great on the ball.
But that season he scored in Champions League final the pinball goal,
Uh,
which probably deflected 100 times, ends up in the
that
back of the
season?
net.
No, that
Yeah,
was
that was
the
that was a
Atleti
Cardiff
season.
final. No, that was a Cardiff
No,
final.
16, 17. Is
Yes.
that the 16, Oh, you're right, maybe. Oh,
Hmm.
I think you're right. Yeah, it was the
Because
16, 17 season.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that
The
jersey was
Screamer.
like the blue, yeah, the
Yeah.
screamer.
The
I mean,
purple, right?
that was a great
Yeah,
goal.
yeah. Yeah, it was
Like I
pretty
watched
good.
it 100 times.
Yeah,
But
I remember.
yes, Casemiro
Yes.
hasn't been reckless. Chouameni, on the other hand, he like in last podcast, El Vikingo mentioned he loses many tackles. He does get triple
Mm,
passed sometimes. He
hmm.
is not a guy who leads to like errors leading to goals. He's not that kind of player. But again, he does not win most of his tackles.
Yeah.
So he will take time,
I
like
think,
to fit into this
yeah,
team.
exactly. I think a lot of that um, quote unquote recklessness from Chouameni's side, I think it just comes from experience. He's younger, he's inexperienced. He
Hmm.
puts in a tackle when he sees, oh, I should tackle this guy. He puts in a tackle, even if it's not the smartest decision. But with time and being surrounded by players like Kroos and Modric, um, and Ancelotti obviously has a brilliant footballing mind. These guys can all help him advance his decision making and his the right times to do specific things. And I think we'll see a big change in Germany this season.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, he rises to the occasion.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you had to go into the market to buy a replacement,
Mm,
where would you go? Because we are linked with Højbjerg from Spurs, the Danish midfielder,
yeah.
who I think,
Mhm.
if you look at the last two Spurs recruitments Madrid had, and if he's anything
Yeah.
like that, I will say give as much money as you want and bring that guy. Because last two
I agree.
recruitments were Bale and
Hmm.
Modric,
Modric.
and I would say that's money well spent.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't watched too much of Spurs to give a proper analysis of my own thoughts. But Højbjerg must be good enough to be linked with us. So there has to be something there.
Exactly,
I don't
because
know
I
too
think
much about him, but
individually on paper, maybe he's a great player because again he's surrounded by Eric Dyer and Harry Winks and the likes. So
I
I
think so.
wouldn't
Yeah.
judge a guy with those players around him.
Yeah.
I would want to see him in a more different setting. But
Yeah.
let's see. Like I wouldn't mind new reinforcement, especially if it's coming for cheap and is not charging
Mm,
much. I wouldn't. I don't see why we shouldn't give it a like try. Even like somebody on
mm,
loan would be good, and maybe like option to buy something like that.
mm.
But
Yeah, it could be. If we're looking for a direct replacement like we want him right now in the starting lineup, it would be either Fabinho or Rodri. but I think those
Mhm.
players are untouchable for their teams.
Yeah, Rodri again. So if we again discuss his stats, he
Mm.
has probably the worst stats among. So we're gonna be putting these stats in the video when we post it.
Yeah.
There are so we are comparing Rodri, Fabinho, Casemiro, Chouameni, and Sergio Busquets. Rodri has probably the least like lowest stats among these five midfielders, but
Mm.
it's mainly because of the football that City plays.
Yeah.
Like his tackles are mostly come in the mid third and the attacking third, and in attacking third, he probably has the highest number of tackles made.
Hmm.
So I don't think he's a bad replacement because he's good on the ball. He
Yeah.
has highest number of
Otherwise,
passing while being pressured because again that's the kind of
mhm.
football City plays. They keep the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he would be a great replacement for Casemiro, but he's not going to leave. Like I don't think he would want to
Oh no, no.
let go of City, or City would not let him go for cheap
Yeah.
because the
No,
money
no
coming in
chance they would.
for Casemiro is probably just breaking even with Chouamani's money.
Yeah, and I don't think
So
Fabinho is. Well, I know Fabinho is untouchable for Liverpool as well. He's important to their system, the way they play.
is 30, isn't he? Like 28, 29.
I think he's the same age as Casemiro. Yeah, 29.
So it wouldn't
But
make
yeah, no,
sense to go and market
no,
for a
not at
30-year
all.
old. As
Not
much
at
as I
all.
like
Not at all.
Fabinho, like since his I think Monaco days,
Yeah, yeah,
he's a solid guy. He can play centre back. He has insane
yeah,
shooting. So basically a
yeah,
Casemiro, but a taller one
yeah, yeah.
and less hair. But shouldn't be
Yeah,
digging into
Zidane
people's hair.
style.
Not gonna like, yeah.
But yeah, I think we have the replacement for Casemiro at home. He's here. We signed
Yes.
Chouameni for 80 million, not to just have him on the bench. Or
Hmm.
Camavinga. We didn't even discuss Camavinga slotting into the sixth row. We've seen the way he tackles and the way he's on the ball. He's good.
Yes, he's is good, but again, he likes to push forward. He likes to carry the ball and move
Yeah,
forward. He might end up, leaving too much space, and he needs to have a very high work rate if he wants to make that work.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
I
agree.
would like to see him, slide into this role. Maybe he
Hmm.
might end up being a great replacement for Casemiro. You never know. But this year is going to be more of a trial and error because we don't have a straight
Yeah,
swap for Casemiro right now.
I agree. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. Carlos gonna have to look at the stats, or sorry, his tactics,
Training
the way he
performance,
plays the game.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but I think the biggest one is the way that we play football. We depend on Casemiro big time to kind of cover up mistakes or like losses of the ball, and he does. And I don't think we have another player currently at this very moment that fits that profile. So I think Carlos gonna have to make some changes in the midfield in his system to kind of compensate for the loss of Casemiro.
As long as it doesn't end up Modric playing center forward, I don't mind him experimenting at all.
You have a
Because I
thing with
mentioned this
Modric as center forward. Yeah, and yeah, in the
in
last
the last
podcast you did.
podcast I mentioned.
Yeah, yeah,
Please, Carlo, if you're listening, I know you're listening. I know you're a fan. Please don't. I can't take that again.
yeah. No, I
That was
don't
the
want
worst.
Cruz Modric. No, that was a bad idea. Thank you, Carlo. I appreciate your concern.
Yes, we
Uh,
love you. Just don't do this again. We want to
yeah,
see you
I just
be here for third season.
more, even more. I wouldn't mind.
The only good thing that has come out of this Casemiro saga so far is that Madrid might be in the business again for players, but
Hmm.
not
Yeah,
essentially for a midfielder.
yeah, I like that. I don't want us to
Yes,
sign a midfielder. We don't need another one.
if we get a right
Even
winger or
yeah,
if we get a center forward, I would be ecstatic.
I think the big thing with all these new talks, like getting a right winger, where does that leave Fede? He will literally just slot into the midfield. He
I
can't
think
play that
right now
six role or
Fede
the eight or the
plays.
10.
Yeah, I think Valverde mainly plays fill in the blanks role.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
He has
Yeah,
like
he's everywhere.
as I said, Fernandinho kind of ability.
Yeah, he's like a
He's a
better
jack of all
Fernandinho.
trades.
Yeah,
Because one time
yeah,
I
he's
saw him play as a right back. One time I think
yeah,
somebody got a red card. I think it was Milishao in 20 like Zidane's last season,
mhm,
and he got a red card very early in the game. And
yeah.
Valverde played as a centre back, I think, in that game. So
We've seen him play
he's
everywhere. I think Valverde,
exactly. So he's more like a
everywhere
he
except
doesn't
left back
have
probably.
his own style of play. Like he passes on mostly to his left. Nothing like that. He's just playing
Hmm.
wherever he can because again he wants to play more like a Vasquez. the guy is going to play anywhere he can just to play for Madrid.
Mm,
Or Nacho,
yeah.
he will slide into any position. So I
Yeah.
think Valverde is more like that. But again, he does it with so much intensity and passion that
Yeah.
he ends up looking great because of his work rate,
Yeah.
similar to Vasquez.
Yeah.
But I hope he doesn't end up like Vasquez. And
Yeah. I hope so.
yeah, if he goes back to his natural position, which is like a center mid, he will
Hmm.
develop in that role and maybe end up replacing Modric or Cruz in the future.
Hmm.
So let's
Yeah.
stop
Definitely.
experimenting Valverde as a right winger because he doesn't have winger qualities to be like a proper winger.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
does
We've seen a
well,
lot where. Yeah, we've seen a lot where Valverde, he on paper will put the 4-3-3 out there. Valverde right wing, Vinny left wing, but really in the game he's covering for Carvajal and he's more playing centrally. So it's more of like a
exactly.
two striker formation. We have Vinny and Benzema up top, and even Benzema drops back and Vinny stays up, or
Yeah,
Vinny drops back and Benzema stays up. Valverde can play anywhere,
'cause-
but in the midfield he's very Modric-esque. He'll carry the ball from the midfield all the way up
yes,
to the forwards. He'll
and
carry it a
he's
lot.
good at tackling. He basically, as I
Hmm.
said, he does everything.
He does everything. Yeah, exactly, exactly. He
So,
can be anywhere we need him to.
mhm. So let's just give him a break from his unnatural duties and
Yeah,
bring him back to the midfield. I don't want to say
yeah.
unnatural. It sounds like it's something weird.
No, but no, that's the right word for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that
I know what
is
you mean.
unusual. Like, not
Yeah,
even that's that's not the right word. But
it's not his
again,
preferred, I guess, his preferred position to play in the on the pitch.
now let's go back to Casemiro and him
Oh,
being,
yeah.
because he's the man of the discussion here.
Yes, yes.
Tactically, do you see him fitting in United? Like, is his style of play going to suit or like complement the players around him?
I think I think Casemiro is he will give United a big part of what they need. I don't think he is everything that they need.
Yes,
If you get
exactly.
what I'm, yeah, yeah, that's a big one. Especially, well, they have Ericsson now. He is that kind of outlet for Casemiro. They have Bruno, who is sometimes on fraud watch, and sometimes he's arguably the best midfielder in the Prem. We don't even know anymore. I don't think United fans know. Um, but I see Casemiro fitting in. Yeah, unless well, we need Maguire to actually do his job to not make Casemiro look bad. But I think Casemiro fits into that team. Yeah, definitely.
So, like again, if I go back to my weird analogies, I will say
Hmm.
they have lost. Like, imagine your toe is gone, like, or you've cut your toe completely,
Hmm.
and your bone is
Which one?
sticking out, any any toe. So you're not gonna put a band-aid over it because it's not gonna fix anything.
Yeah. You need a new
But
toe. Yeah.
like, yeah, and Casemiro is more like, you know, like iodine, like just like a disinfectant. They have poured disinfectant, which is the right step in the right direction, but
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
all of the steps. They still need to
Yes.
get the gauze, they need to get the other ointment, put it over, bandage. Like, there's so many steps. Like, there's so many players that they need to fill. So right
Yeah.
now
I
they
agree
have
with
taken the right step in the right direction. Ten Hag, I'm hoping Casemiro is his signing and not like a just a reactionary signing that, oh, we
you.
need something to fill the hole and let's just bring some big name that everybody wants, and maybe he'll be the right choice. So let's hope he's not that.
Hmm.
And
So
as you said, like
if I
Lisandro,
just.
maybe we might just see them swap places because with Casemiro's
Mhm.
age and Lisandro being more active, we can.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think it would be the case, at least for the first season. Maybe
Yeah. At
as the
least for the
season
first season, I
progresses,
agree.
we can see something
But
new
like,
changes. Again, coming to this point of fitting and performing well in his position, because a lot depends on the current form as these players are going to go on to play in the World Cup. So
yes, that's a big one.
playing for United, let's hope that Casemiro doesn't do well. No, wait, did I say let's hope? No, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
say let's
you
hope. I
said
said, like,
that's. Yeah.
I'm really sorry. No, I wanted to say let's hope
How dare you?
Casemiro makes the World Cup. No, I said
Yeah.
let's imagine for a second that the like Casemiro doesn't fit like a glove, and there was like a transitional phase, so
Right.
he ends up picking a bad form until the World Cup. How much do you think it would affect his chances in the Brazil squad? Would he be dropped, or would it not matter at all?
I think we have to remember, and everybody that's listening has to remember, Casemiro won the Champions League 83 days ago. He got man of the match in our Super Cup match against Frankfurt. He is top, absolute top of the defensive midfielders in the world right now. I think Brazil's coach is Tite, right?
Yep.
Is their coach? Yeah, I think let's say Casemiro does pick up bad form until November when the squads have to be submitted, and he's struggling at United. I think Tite has to take into consideration the club that he's playing for. He's the players around him, just like Ronaldo. Look at Ronaldo; he hasn't scored in a couple games, I guess. Do you think Portugal's not going to call him up? No, of course not. It's Cristiano. No question, he's going to be the first name on that sheet, right? I think it should be the exact same for Casemiro. He
So
should
my
be up
cause is
there,
there's going to
no
be an
question.
international break in September. So I think even if he doesn't do well, let's say next couple of games in
Hmm.
international break, he probably will show them what he's got. So
Oh yeah,
because
for sure.
it would, I think he must have weighed in that possibility as well because that's the only one
Of
thing he
course.
hasn't won. He's won a Copa
Yeah.
America.
Right.
He's won under 20 World Cup, but not the best World Cup there is.
Just one of
So
them. Yeah.
it's one of them. It's Brazil. You
Yeah.
never know. These guys can do anything. But
Yeah.
again, since it's Brazil, they're not short of players. They have
Of course not.
Fabinho,
Yeah.
they have Bruno Guimaraes, they
Yeah. Yeah.
have probably some few more players playing somewhere we don't
Hmm.
know, and so
Yeah.
it's not like they're short of players.
Hmm.
So
I agree.
and they have Fred as well. But if
Fred.
there would
Yeah.
be a cold day in hell if Fred makes it to World Cup
If
and
French bets
Casemiro
Casemiro,
doesn't.
oh no, no way, man. I would lose trust in
To be fair,
football after that. I'm
Fred,
sorry.
Fred in Brazil's team, he's done admirable. Like I wouldn't say he's a bad player when he plays for
No,
Brazil.
I don't think he's a bad player in general. He's not. They just don't use him in the right role. He's forced to play a six. He's not a six. It's like putting Kroos in a six and saying, "Oh, he's doing badly." Fred is not a six. We saw him at Shakhtar. I remember he
Yeah.
was a class player at Shakhtar. Lots of teams were in for him, and he chose United, or probably money chose him. But either way, he's a
Again,
good player,
Fred
but he's just in the wrong role.
Fred wasn't the manager's choice to be signed. He was more
Mm.
like, oh, we have money, let's just spend it on something. It's
Yeah,
like my brother,
but lots
when
of
he goes to
clubs.
a shop and
Yeah,
he has money, it's like, I want to spend it like before he leaves the shop. I'm like, it's not a competition, it's not a compulsion. I think that's how what United is. It's like, oh guys, we have money this
yeah,
quarter. Let's spend it
yeah,
on something, sell some t-shirts.
yeah. Fair
So
enough. Yeah, everybody wants a shirt with the name Fred on the back. Who doesn't? Yeah. But yeah,
yeah, that's
I
a good point too. Yeah, but again,
yeah.
anyway, coming back to the player in question and his position, you said it's not going to matter if he plays
No,
well or not for
he
United.
could break his leg. Honestly, Casemiro could break his leg, be fit in November, and he would be maybe the second name on the team sheet after Gabriel Jesus' form right now, and
So
Neymar.
yeah,
I think
because probably this factor also weighed in on his decision making. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter
it
if I
must have.
leave and play for United. That's why it doesn't matter.
I think he feels safe. He feels safe knowing his position in the national team is cemented, and you can't fault him for that either.
Would you say 2018 Casemiro would have made the same decision? Let's say by 2018 Casemiro has what he like the legacy he has now,
Hmm.
but he's younger. Would you still say that he would have still chosen United over Madrid and be like, oh, I would
That's
still
a
be picked up for World Cup?
that's a really good question. Actually, I did not think of that, and that requires a lot of thought. If he had the same legacy he had now, same trophies, same everything, how old was he in 2018? 4 years ago. So he's what, 26?
26.
Wow.
Because in
I don't
2018
know.
they still had Fabinho who was still amazing,
Hmm.
and they didn't have Fred.
Yeah.
I don't I,
Wait, so you're
actually
asking me? Are you
I'm
asking me
drawing a
if
blank because
2018?
yeah.
Are you asking me if in 2018 would he have made this transfer to go to United?
Yeah. A 26-year-old Casemiro, do you think he would have made this switch? Because even then, he had three Champions Leagues to his name.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, I don't think there are many other players except Madrid players who have three Champions League to their name, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
I
there's
don't know.
none.
I actually,
I mean,
I
there are
have,
many, but
yeah,
like
I have no clue.
currently,
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he would have?
I think he wouldn't have because in 2016 he was still hungry. Like he was in a great
Mm,
like with a great bunch of players.
yeah.
he was young and he had many more things to prove staying in Madrid, because the thing is, this World Cup is coming at a weird time, end of this like
Yeah,
year.
yeah. Middle
Back
of the
then,
season. Yeah,
yeah, in the summer you would know what's happening, but let's say the
yeah.
2018 World Cup was in the summer, sorry, in the winter,
Winter.
and you
Yeah.
need like good first half of the season to establish yourself to be in the squad for the World Cup.
Hmm.
Then Casemiro, 26-year-old Casemiro with three Champions Leagues to his name, and imagining like United is what it is today, I don't think he would have made the
Mm.
switch and thought of looking bad with them, because he knew that he wasn't an of starter for Brazil then, so he wouldn't be
Mm.
chosen in any case. So maybe
I
now
think
he
I
can
agree
make
with
that
you.
decision because he's more he's a senior player now in Brazil squad.
Yeah.
4 years
Hmm.
ago he wasn't.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he would have gone, especially if United are in the same boat they're in now. I don't think he would have made that switch. I think he really took into consideration his age and the Perez he's dealing with. He knows Perez wouldn't have given him the same term that United is giving him for the same money. So I think
Yeah,
this is more of like a his final paycheck. I
yeah,
don't think he
because
would have done it at 26.
yeah, in 2018 Perez would have been like, oh, this guy's still 26, he's good for next 6 7 years. If
Yeah,
United is offering him 12 million, I might match this offer because I want this player for the next couple of years.
yeah. If not more, you see Casemiro back then, he would have probably offered him more than United. But
Because I think
now,
Kanse is similar age to Casemiro, or is he like older?
I think he's similar age. I think he's like 30, 31. Yeah.
And yeah, I think Perez would have tried to match the offer because Casemiro was
Mm.
still good. He was still integral part of this
Yeah,
KCM.
yeah. He was
So,
still climbing up to his peak. I think
and
last
also
year,
like,
like the yeah,
sorry, Casemiro knows
uh,
Perez is not going to match
yeah,
this offer now.
yeah,
12
yeah.
million from
Definitely not.
United? No way. He's going to be like,
Yeah,
finish your contract and leave if you want to. I'm not going to match this
yeah.
offer.
He didn't even try to convince him to stay, which is fair enough. You don't need to. Casemiro, as we said at the very start, he's earned the right to make this decision.
Conclude this whole saga.
Hmm.
I would just like to say that I'm very happy for Casemiro that he's going to a reputed club,
Yeah.
and he will be valued for his game. I am very upset that somebody like him is leaving the midfield, the legendary midfield of KCM, because
Yeah.
it won't be replicated for at least like next 5 6 years.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're still Real Madrid. As much as
Yeah.
it hurts today, and we don't know what future holds for us, we will get over it. Sooner or
Hmm.
later, we will come back from it.
Of course. Never doubt Perez's decisions. We've judged him and ridiculed him for so many things he's done over the
Mhm.
past 5 years, but every time it's turned out in the good for us. Every single time.
I mean, they deserve the benefit of the doubt because
Yeah.
last year we only signed Alaba to compensate for losing Ramos and
Hmm.
Varane. We all
And look how it
questioned their
played out for
decision.
us, though.
Exactly. Look how it turned out.
Militao,
I wouldn't say like, oh, we were
Militao,
great defensively, better than them. No, we would have loved to have them, but we
yeah,
managed. We overcame our deficits, and it was all okay.
it was okay. We won the
All's
Champions
well.
League. It was fine. Yeah,
All's well. That ends well. Like it was a decent season. Just one Champions League, one La
just
Liga,
a domestic double. Yeah. Oh well,
and like
it's
some
okay.
like irrelevant trophy in some Super Copa or something. I don't know. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We will be coming with every weekly recaps and some special episodes to follow soon. So stay tuned. We'll be bringing you lots more of content, and it was great to speak with you, Aramash, and hopefully we'll get to do this soon.
Thank you, Wolf. It was a pleasure being here. I loved it.